How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Army of the Dead from 2021. It's good to see new movies finally start to come back. It looks like movies might be coming back pretty soon. There's a bunch of trailers for stuff that I'm looking forward to, and hey, Conjuring 3, Marvel movies, it seems like we are on the right path to come back, which is exciting. And we now have Army of the Dead, which is a Netflix film, but did also get a theatrical window with it as well, and that's really, really cool, especially for a movie as big and cool as this one is. This is directed by Zack Snyder and stars Dave Bautista. Zack Snyder, if you're a big zombie head, you may know him for the remake, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead. This movie, it kind of loosely follows what Dawn of the Dead did, but it makes it more action-heavy and less focused on survival. But despite how much it changed, I actually really did like this movie. It's one of the best of the Romero Zombies extended franchise that wasn't actually directed by Romero. Pretty cool thing. Now, you may be asking, Zack Snyder, Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder, Dawn of the Dead, are these two movies in any way related? Well, they're both of the Dead movies. They're both directed by Zack Snyder, and the zombies act relatively similar, and they're both action-heavy movies. If you like one, I definitely recommend the other. But at least according to Zack Snyder, they're unrelated, they're separate projects, and we have had other projects use the Of the Dead subtitle and not be officially related to Romero in any particular way. Shaun of the Dead is the easiest to name out of those movies, but this may be because this is a Universal movie, Dawn of the Dead here, and then Army of the Dead's a Netflix movie. Maybe he's just saying that to avoid legal stuff. Us fans can mash them together if we want to, right? But anyway, let's go ahead and start talking about the plot. Let's talk a little bit about the plot. I'm not going to be doing any major spoilers, but I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what this movie's about. We open up on what I presume to be Route 66. The government is transporting a big steel box and none of the soldiers know what's inside. Of course, they crash with the only other car on the road. The box spills open and a zombie pops out. Kind of reminds me of the zombies popping out of those steel barrels from Return of the Living Dead. I guess if you're the government, you gotta kill them, you gotta find a way, because these zombies are always gonna get out of whatever you enclose them in. The zombie pops out, gets some soldiers, and forms an army of the dead, and heads to the nearest town, which of course is Las Vegas. Now, if you guys are Vegas heads, this is going to be a pretty cool setting for you. Las Vegas is a really interesting place, big wide streets, tall buildings, unique architecture and statues, and crazy, crazy cool things going on. A very unique setting, and it's cool to see a zombie movie here. And yeah, Vegas, gotta love it, right? Well, we then cut to this opening credits sort of montage here. It's one of the coolest opening credits scenes. You get to see the zombies take over, the people fight back, a lot of them fall, but as this is going on, you start to see zombie apocalypse hero-type characters emerge. And these heroes, they do cool things, they survive, and they eventually get them standing in front of a backdrop holding a photo of their family, their loved ones. So you get to know a bit about your heroes before we actually get into the movie. A cool way to set things up and introduce the people to us. Really nice. At the end of this, you see the government come in and start dropping shipping containers around Las Vegas, forming a wall, effectively solving their problem for now. We cut to a bit in the future. Dave Bautista, who's kind of a local celebrity. If you knew about the zombies, you probably knew about him. But he's flipping burgers because, hey, it's a living, when he's approached by this businessman. He's says he owns a casino, and he wants Dave Bautista to assemble a team, go into the casino's basement where the vault is housed, and get out his money. He has over $200 million And if he gets it out, Dave Bautista can keep 50 million of it for himself and his team, dividing it however they choose. And Dave Bautista's hesitant at first, but eventually he really needs the money, so he decides to do this. He assembles his team, and it's a classic getting the gang back together, classic heist movie scene. There's a fun gag where, he has 50 million to divide up amongst his team. The first few people he asks get bigger amounts, and then as he goes on, the amount of money each person gets smaller and smaller as he runs out. But they all need money so bad, they're all like, whoa, yeah, I'll do that job. And you get people that only get 2 million, and one guy at the end gets like 250,000, but they're still like, money? Yeah, I'll do it. And they don't realize how much the first people were getting. It's a fun gag. We get to see the characters. You get Dave Bautista's love interest. You get Dave Bautista's daughter. The daughter he doesn't want to bring, but one of her friends had gone into Las Vegas earlier, and she's missing. The daughter wants to save her friend and says, hey, I can either go with you or I'll go by myself. So he brings her along just so he can at least keep an eye on her. And to be fair, the love interest and the daughter, they're good enough. They're a little bit generic. The same with the jerk character. Good enough, but a little bit generic. But you do get some real standouts. You get a Tig Nicotero, I believe that's how you say her last name, who is the helicopter pilot. She's really snarky and a fun character. She's actually a stand-up comedian. I had heard her routines a few times. I listened to stand-up comedy a fair bit. And she's a good comedian. If you like her in this movie, I'd definitely say check out her stand-up. Some funny stuff there. You also get this big, cool guy, and he's got like a construction-grade circular saw he carries around. And he has some really good back-and-forth banter with this little nerdy safecracker character. And the two kind of talk back and forth, one being really tough, one being insightful, and they really do play off of each other really well. And then, of course, you also get the person who gets them through the wall and guides them through the city, the Coyote-type character. And she's the cool, tough, knowledgeable girl, fun character as well. But this is also a hardcore zombie movie, and one of the things with a hardcore zombie movie is these characters may or may not survive. You never know, and sometimes you get a really cool character you love, but boom, they're dead. And that is one thing that keeps you on your toes in a zombie film that a lot of other films don't do. Really do like that. But in addition to a really cool setting, some pretty fun characters, you also get the zombies. Now, you get a lot of the regular zombies, things like you see in the Dawn of the Dead remake. They are fast zombies, so if you're not a fan of fast zombies, if that's a deal breaker for you, that is in there. But I always say, each zombie movie, its own continuity, they can do whatever they want. So they're cool zombies, they are faster, but they also introduce that if you are a zombie who is bitten by the main zombie, who I think they call Zeus in this movie, you become an alpha zombie. Now, anyone you bite will just be a regular zombie, but the people bitten by the alpha become smarter zombies, and they actually almost feel like a gang you might see in Mad Max or something. So a Mad Max gang of zombies running around, they're smarter, they're the ones you have to look out for. That was an interesting twist, but there are a few other things that you haven't necessarily seen in zombie movies before. There's a bunch of zombies outside the gate that have just dried up in the sun, and they said if it rains they might move a little bit. They go into a room that no one's been in for a long, long time, and all the zombies have gone into hibernation, and they're just kind of standing still, and they have to, walk their way through without waking them up. That was a really cool scene. I hadn't seen it before. I think maybe Resident Evil, no, Silent Hill did something kind of like that in one of their movies. I think there was a scene with the nurses like that. I really did like that scene as well. And then there's also zombie animals. You get a zombie tiger that they show you heavily in the trailer, but Zeus also has a zombie horse. Now, these are really cool, crazy additions. That being said, in the remake of Dawn of the Dead, there was a whole big deal about how the zombies wouldn't bite a dog, so maybe they aren't in the same continuity. That being said, though, maybe the zombie animals only happen because Zeus has to bite them. Maybe you can only do alphas on these things, because if you had zombie animals, that can turn into a a lot harder to survive situation, and there's only 2 of them, so it seems to be a rarity, but really cool creatures nonetheless. You do get a few standout zombies, which is something Romero did in his movies, where you have little zombies you kind of get to know every now and then, and I do like that some of them had personalities. It's really only the main 2. You get Zeus and his queen, and the queen is kind of this circus performer character. It's cool to see a zombie sort of hierarchy, an army, right? But it's cool to see the king and the queen up there at the top. Cool, really well-designed characters there. Now, this movie, I realized when I watched this just how long it had been since the last really good zombie movie came out. I mean, if you're zombie fans, you have Walking Dead to tide you over, but the zombie boom has been gone for a while now. And yeah, you get them every now and then, but to finally see a big budget zombie movie back, and I mean, you know, things like crazy gore and action and death and just zombie killing everywhere, main character death everywhere. It is the kind of film that I really do miss, and maybe we'll see another zombie boom. I personally could really go for it. And yeah, it's a big zombie movie after a long hiatus. That sort of thing as a big zombie nerd really, really gets me excited. And, you know, it is a longer movie, but that being said, it had a point. It's trying to tell a bigger story, and there is lots of characters, and it is a journey, so the length is justified. It's, I think, 2 hours, 20 minutes-ish, something like that, but it's warranted. If you have the time, I definitely recommend sitting down and watching it. And the base plot is simple. Zombie movie, heist movie. It's something that I'm surprised hasn't been combined together more often. I'm sure you can find an example if you really dig. But it's cool to take these 2 genres, mash them together, and, you know, see what comes of that. Much like Dawn of the Dead, it's more zombie action and fighting the zombies. If you're a fan of long-term survival stuff with zombie movies, there's none of that there. There's none of, how are we going to survive? Let's build a shelter or gather resources. There's none of that. They go in and then they go out. You know, so no long-term survival stuff. But here, it doesn't really fit the tone of the story, so I get that. But that being said, the zombie story in and of itself, simple, easy to understand. You can watch it, walk out, get it. But Zack Snyder puts little things in there. And there is more to this movie and its world, and once you start noticing them, once you watch the clips on YouTube later, and you start to see what all's in here, you really start to go, okay, there's something there, and if you want to dig in, you're welcome to. Now, it's not like, you know, like say in The Mummy, where they had that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde really forced extended universe thing. That's not in there. This is really how it should be done, where if you like the movie, you get a little more invested, and then you start seeing the stuff, the bigger, crazier things. And there's some crazy stuff in here. It's one of those things when you see it, you're like, oh, wow, what does that mean? And I mean, there are things like, you know, plots that there's an allusion to maybe time travel or parallel dimensions. There's a whole bunch of stuff with Greek mythology. I mean, Zeus and whatnot. They're staying at the Olympus casino. There's even in the background a few robot zombies. I mean, what's up with that? And then, of course, the biggest thing, aliens. So there is some crazy cool stuff in here. It's not really anything you have to get or understand, but if you want to dig in, there is room to dig in and analyze with this movie and try to figure out just what's going on. They said that this is going to have sequels and tie-ins, and there's going to be an animated cartoon called Lost Vegas, and I am really looking forward to that. As much sequels, they always use the term extended universe, shared universe, and this is one that I'm really looking forward to. Whatever else of the Army of the Dead comes next, whatever is in the Zack Snyder Zombieverse, I'll check it out. I'll see what's up, because I'm a zombie fan, and this was a really good setup. So, also, speaking of all those little things you missed, when you're done with this movie, there is a joke about the Snyder Cut of Justice League. One of the really clever jokes in here, and I'd look up the Snyder Cut joke if you didn't see it. But But anyway, this is a really good zombie movie. It's not like the best thing in the world, but, you know, that hyper-intense zombie action, a new concept of a zombie movie and a heist movie, and hey, freaking Zack Snyder back again. This was really fun. Again, not the best thing ever, not a revolutionary zombie movie, but hey, if you're fans of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, if you're fans of Zack Snyder, if you're fans of zombie movies, check this out. It's on Netflix. It's really, really cool, and I will show up again for whatever comes next. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You're really helping the channel out. I'll put a relevant playlist down here if you want to see more. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom should be my zombies playlist if you want to see that. Anyway, have a good day. See you guys again very, very soon.